We're going to be using AI to create these awesome images that all recreate famous architecture styles. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can incorporate this into your own work. Now, using AI to recreate famous architect styles can be very controversial, some people might say, but that's exactly why I'm doing this, because AI is going to continue evolving whether you want it to or not. I'm simply showing you how to stay on top of AI. This is much more than simply just putting famous architect names into Midjourney and getting a result. You know, anyone can open Midjourney, type in Zaha Hadid, press enter, and then get a result. But in this video, I'll be showing you the exact prompt structures and breaking down key prompts and elements of each style, so that when you're creating your own design work and you want to create some AI reference images or visualizations, or maybe get some concept renders as inspiration, then you'll be able to know the exact prompts you want to use and create reference images and really just fast track the process if you actually want to use Midjourney practically. So let's start off. We simply just go on to Midjourney. We'll start off with Mies van der Rohe, one of the most famous architects. You probably know of his buildings. He's got the Farnsworth house and whatnot. If you just type in imagine and then go Mies van der Rohe house. So if you simply import that into Midjourney, this is the result. Now, it does look very cool. You get some really cool shots and whatnot, but compare these images to this. By setting up a whole prompt structure and setting out what kind of actual shots you want to see, you can get a much more tailored result to exactly what you want to see. This video is about showing you going from results of this to things like this. So as I talk about these, I'm not going to be sitting here making each prompt. Instead, I'm just going to show the prompts on screen, and we're going to look through the images that we've created, and I'm going to show the exact prompt structure for all of these. So first one is Mies van der Rohe. So I've described how to lay out prompt structures in previous videos of Midjourney, but if you're new here, I'm going to put up the prompt structure on screen now. So all these prompts essentially go around the basis of the 2-4-2 method. So you set up your prompt. The first two things is A, and then whatever kind of view you want to see. In this case, I've just done A view because I wasn't too concerned, but this is where you'd put in a wide angle view, a medium shot, a ultra wide shot, a narrow view. That's where you set up your camera in the first prompt. Then 2 is what the subject is. In this case, it's a Mies van der Rohe house. And then you can describe where you want your subject to be in this line. So in our case, in a calm, snowy landscape. So that's 2. And then you go 4, which is essentially just all your keywords, random words you want to put in. So in this case, we've got captures essence of nature, solarization, and we got some camera lenses and types of cameras, which will give you a certain look and effect. I really like how this lens and camera looks when you import it. And then you want simple things, just architecture, photography, architecture. You know, as the video goes on, I'll show you different prompts we've used. But the last two prompts, I don't normally do this, but if you want to show something specific in the scene, your last two prompts would be, say, with a man standing outside fishing, or a man walking into the entrance. If you want to see something specific, you put that at the end with another 2. So I'll show you an example of that later, but just keep that in mind when you want to set up your prompts, is 2-4-2. So we ran a few of these. Next set, I put in vibrant colors, warm and white orange color, because I wanted to get that warm house in a snowy setting kind of look. You can see the prompts of architecture, photography really show up and help with the composition. That's a really good one. So these kind of photography prompts of architecture photography or cinematic framing, photography framing, all that kind of thing if you want really nicely composed scenes. And then we switched it up from snowy, going back to a calm forest. I noticed adding words like moody, calm, forest. You know, you don't want to go too overboard like in previous versions of Midjourney, where you'd use too many adjectives and it gets a bit strange. You know, you'd write like a wondrous, beautiful, flowing. You don't want too many of those words, but just a few, like either calm forest, ethereal forest. Adding a few of those words really helps to set the mood and overall tone. I've gone warm green color palette. You can really see putting in these camera and lenses. I mainly do Ariflex 35BL camera or Canon K35 prime lens. This really gives it this very niche look, but I really like how it comes through in Midjourney. One thing I didn't add here was like sun rays and God rays. I might actually quickly rerun this and just add in some light rays. I'm gonna try something new here really quick. I used to, in Midjourney version 4, I would always put in prompts of Unreal Engine, global illumination, and these kind of graphic rendering things. I kind of stopped doing that because I wanted a realistic look. But if you're going for like, you want to fool someone and think that you rendered this in, say, Unreal Engine, Lumion, Twinmotion or something, you can add in these prompts of Unreal Engine 5, Lumion lighting, architectural rendering, and it gives it a very certain look. It looks like it's not necessarily a photo or a photography thing anymore. It's more of a computer generated image. Yeah, so you can see here, it no longer looks like a realistic photograph. You can definitely tell it's more of a rendered image. So it all depends on what your taste is and what you want the look to be. Alright, so now we're going to go completely different to Frank Gehry. So now we've switched from a forest, we're going to go straight urban city. We want this kind of deconstructivism kind of look. For these larger scale urban buildings, I like to do a wide angle view. Let's go a wide angle view of Frank Gehry Museum, and then in whichever setting you want. So in the city of San Francisco, again using moody architecture photography because we really want a good composition. You can add in your materials in that 242. So you go in your 4. We do these describing words. You can add in what materials you want to see. And I wanted just a clean brushed steel glass architecture. Color palette, silver, monochromatic, and then see on the end here, the last 2 prompts was something specific that I wanted to see, which was people walking in and out of the busy museum entrance. And we got exactly that. This is pretty much exactly what I was thinking, and it's how I got the prompt to look like that. And then this here, I think, is the best one I've come up with. Really clean image, very photographic, cinematic. I think that architecture photography prompt is really useful because it's taking pictures from all over the internet and taking all of these architecture photography images and using that composition and framing. I went with a different kind of camera here. So you go Hasselblad XD1. I might do another video doing more research into which cameras are specifically good. I've just got 2 different ones in this video, either this or the other one using the Canon K30 prime lenses. It's up to you which one you want to use. It takes a lot of experimenting. And then I switched to a bird's eye view. So in that first prompt, I've added a bird's eye view. You can also add DJI Mavic 3. That's a type of drone photography. So this paired with a bird's eye view or drone shot gives you a really neat result. Unfortunately, we've got some people walking on the roof here, but you can always either Photoshop that out or use the image editing tool that's in Midjourney. So you can use the Vary Region tool in Midjourney, and then you'll just use the lasso tool, select around here, and then you'll just ask it to remove the people. Next, we go on to modern Zaha Hadid style architecture. Now, surprisingly, this is actually a little bit hard to get Midjourney to do for some reason, but I managed to get these kind of clean looking buildings. Eventually you get it. So again, just a simple 2, Zaha Hadid style building, misty coastal view, all these basic kind of prompts. In the style of monochromatic white figures is an interesting prompt you can try incorporating, makes everything monochromatic. Minimalistic elements, again, solarization is a really good one. Captures essence of nature is also a good one. And then going on to these next images, I use things like added in vibrant colors to really shake up that color palette. Next one is Le Corbusier. Using a museum style kind of courtyard. Some of this looks a little bit dystopian, but you do get some interesting compositions you can see on this one. Tried taking out some prompts and adding in things like ethereal. Sometimes it helps to just remove some prompts. Sometimes if you have too many, Midjourney will be trying to do too much at once. They say they'll fix this, but it's up to you to experiment really. And switching up to Shigeru Ban, using these very timber parametric kind of look. I think this will make a really good reference image if you have a very distinct kind of timber parametric building style. If you're using this on your own design to create reference images, it really depends on what your project is. So say you're designing a school. You just write an ultra-wide view of a Shigeru Ban parametric timber canopy in a school with children or running around. Really depends on what your project is, but that's where you would put your subject in. And then we go next to Renzo Piano. Essentially the same prompts as before, but we add in things like deconstructivism. I think it works really well with cinematic. You know, you get a really interesting interior shots here as well as exterior views. You know, so you can incorporate these if you have a really large scale deconstructivist style kind of building. Next we go on to Santiago Calatrava. Very, very distinct style. So if you're creating large, curvy style kind of buildings, these are the prompts you use. I usually associate this architect company with like kind of coastal projects, blue skies, white buildings, very reminiscent of like the Sydney Opera House or many other projects that they've created. So I noticed the first prompts I used for this, the building was too curvy. Like there's not much actual building going on here, if that makes sense. Like there's not much in terms of ground plane access. It's just too blended into the ground. So I fixed that by adding a double-story height entrance, and this really helped to kind of expand that building up more rather than it just being that kind of flat, too flat building. It kind of helped contrast it from having not enough depth. So this gives it a bit more height, and I really like how some of these turned out. So there you go, that's my full guide on how to use Midjourney for creating famous architect projects, so that you're able to incorporate these into your own projects. If you want to create your own reference images, I hope this was useful. I do have full prompt guides for Midjourney 4, 5, and 6 on my website if you want to check that out. I go into more in-depth, and on there I have secret prompts that are actually being used actively in the architecture industry. But that's on my website. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description. And yeah, I hope this video was useful, and thank you for watching.